Behind the graceful curtains of geishas and the tranquility of Zen gardens lies a dark, rarely revealed story. Japan, a nation often praised for its efficiency, order, and cultural innovation, conceals a shadowy side that gnaws at its soul. A society that appears perfect from the outside, yet within it, storms of loneliness, pressure, and unspoken suffering rage. Are you ready to uncover the bitter truth behind this facade of a perfect society? Do you dare to delve into the deep abyss, where discipline turns into shackles, respect into fear, and the pursuit of perfection leads to ruin? This is not just a story. It is an invitation to see Japan from a rarely told perspective, a narrative that will change your perception forever. Chapter 1. The cracks in the facade of perfection. Japan is a paradox. On one hand, it captivates the world with the beauty of its traditions, its technological innovations, and the hospitality of its people. Tokyo, a clean and orderly futuristic metropolis, often serves as a symbol of the progress achieved by a nation. Punctual train stations, litter-free streets, unparalleled customer service, all create an image of a perfectly functioning society. Tourists return with stories of extraordinary hospitality, astonishing efficiency, and a sense of security rarely found elsewhere. However, behind this gleaming facade, growing cracks are appearing. Statistics begin to tell a different story. Japan has one of the highest suicide rates in the developed world. A grim reality that contrasts sharply with the cheerful image often projected. Depression and other mental health issues are rampant, often hidden behind forced smiles and the ingrained never-give-up attitude of Japanese culture. This is an invisible burden carried by millions, a silent scream rarely heard amidst the hustle and bustle of city life. How can a nation so prosperous and orderly conceal such immense suffering? The answer lies in the cultural roots and values that have shaped Japanese society for centuries. Concepts like Gaiman perseverance, Gambaru doing one's best, and Han true feelings versus Tate-May public face create immense pressure on individuals to always show strength and hide weakness. Society expects everyone to conform, work hard, and never complain, even when their souls are tearing apart. Education in Japan is the first battlefield. From an early age, children face a highly competitive system, the pressure to enter the best schools, then the best universities, and finally the best companies. Creates an environment where failure is a disgrace to be avoided at all costs. Long study hours, intensive supplementary tutoring, and parental pressure create a generation of exhausted and anxious young people. Cases of hikikomori, individuals who withdraw completely from society and confine themselves to their rooms for years, are one of the extreme symptoms of this pressure. They are victims of a system that demands perfection but fails to provide space for those who can not or do not want to follow the current. After graduation, the battlefield shifts to the world of work. Corporate culture in Japan is known for its extremely long working hours, demands for unlimited loyalty, and strict hierarchies. The concept of karoshi, death from overwork, is not a myth, but a legally recognized reality. Thousands of people each year suffer serious illnesses or even die due to extreme stress and exhaustion. Workers are expected to dedicate their lives to the company, sacrificing personal time, family, and health for corporate advancement. Loyalty is considered the highest virtue, and questioning the system is an unacceptable act. Behind the friendly smiles of office workers returning home late lies deep exhaustion. They are corporate soldiers who fight every day to maintain the expected image, while slowly losing themselves. The bars in Shinjuku and Shibuya are full of workers seeking a momentary escape from life's pressures, but often return to empty homes and an ever-deepening sense of loneliness. Chapter 2. Twilight behind the cherry blossoms. The epidemic of loneliness and suicide. When cherry blossoms bloom in spring, Japan is enveloped in mesmerizing beauty. However, behind the soft pink petals lies the dark shadow of an epidemic of loneliness and suicide. This is one of the most tragic sides of Japan's perfect society, a problem that challenges external understanding. Suicide in Japan is not just a statistic. It is a cry of despair that echoes across the nation. For years, Japan has had one of the highest suicide rates among developed countries. Although government efforts have been made to reduce the numbers, the root causes are too deep to be addressed by surface solutions. Why do so many Japanese people choose to end their lives? The answer is complex and multi-layered. One of the main factors is immense social pressure. As discussed earlier, Japanese society demands perfection and conformity. Failure, in any form, is often considered a disgrace that not only stains the individual's name but also their family and company. In a culture where saving face Meiho is everything, failure can feel like an unbearable burden. The stigma surrounding mental health is also a major barrier. Although depression and anxiety are common problems, discussing them openly is often seen as a sign of weakness. Many Japanese people are reluctant to seek professional help for fear of discrimination or negative judgment from others. They choose to suffer in silence, hiding their pain behind smiles and a calm demeanor. As a result, minor issues can escalate into life-threatening crises without anyone knowing. In addition, economic factors play a role. Although Japan is a prosperous country, economic disparities are widening. The younger generation faces a competitive and often unstable job market, with many trapped in temporary or low-paying jobs. The expectation of lifelong employment in a large company, once the norm, is now increasingly out of reach. Frustration and despair over financial futures can trigger severe depression. The phenomenon of loneliness is also a serious problem. Although Japanese cities are densely populated, many individuals feel isolated. The pressure to work long hours leaves little time for socializing or building deep relationships. Families often live far apart, and traditional community support is weakening. Elderly parents, once highly respected and cared for by their families, now often end up in solitude, becoming kodokushi, dying alone, a phenomenon that is on the rise. Suicide spots or specific locations known for suicides also exist, although the government tries hard to keep them out of the spotlight. Aokigahara, the forest located at the foot of Mount Fuji, is one of the most famous, a grim reminder of unspoken suffering. Every year, search teams find dozens of bodies in this forest, the remnants of those who sought a final escape from their pain. The Japanese government has launched various initiatives to address the suicide problem, including mental health awareness programs, helplines, and efforts to reduce working hours. However, cultural change takes a very long time. Stigma must be removed. Society must learn to be more open about mental health, and individuals must feel safe seeking help without fear of judgment. Until then, this dark shadow will continue to haunt Japan's perfect society. Chapter 3, Karoshi and the Lost Ikigai, Pressure in the Workplace. The world of work in Japan is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it is known for its strong work ethic, unwavering dedication, and commitment to quality. Japanese companies are global giants, producing innovative and high-quality products. However, on the other hand, this world of work is also a source of immense pressure, leading to the loss of ikigai purpose in life, and even death. Karoshi, or death from overwork, is a uniquely Japanese term. It is not a hyperbole. It is a medically and legally recognized phenomenon. Every year, thousands of workers suffer heart attacks, strokes, or severe depression leading to suicide, all due to extreme stress and exhaustion caused by inhumane working hours. The government even has guidelines for identifying karoshi cases and providing compensation to victims' families. Japanese work culture demands absolute loyalty from its employees. Workers are expected to dedicate themselves completely to the company, often sacrificing their personal lives. 12 to 14-hour workdays are common, coupled with long commutes. Unpaid overtime is often expected, and refusing to work overtime can be seen as a lack of dedication. Holidays and leave are often not taken fully due to guilt or pressure from colleagues. Pressure doesn't just come from long working hours. Strict hierarchies and a culture of seniority senpai-kohai can create an oppressive environment. Junior workers are expected to obey their superiors without question, even if it means sacrificing their own ideas or working in unhealthy conditions. Workplace bullying power, harassment is also a serious problem, with superiors abusing their power to pressure subordinates. The concepts of Nimowashi, quietly building consensus, and Ringi-sho tiered approval system also slow down decision-making processes, creating bureaucracy that consumes time and energy. Workers often have to spend hours in unproductive meetings or waiting for approval from multiple levels of management. Female workers face additional challenges. Although efforts have been made to promote gender equality, the Japanese work culture is still heavily male-dominated. Women often face discrimination, difficulty in career advancement, and pressure to choose between career and family. Many women are forced to leave their jobs after marriage or having children due to a lack of childcare support and social expectations to be homemakers. The result of this extreme work pressure is the loss of ikigai, a Japanese concept meaning a reason for being or purpose in life. When one's life is dominated by exhausting and unfulfilling work, it is difficult to find meaning and happiness. Workers become endlessly spinning machines, losing connection with their hobbies, families, and dreams. Physical and mental exhaustion becomes chronic, leading to depression, anxiety, and in the worst cases, suicide. Some companies are beginning to realize these problems and are trying to implement changes, such as limiting working hours, encouraging employees to take leave, and providing mental health support. However, cultural change takes time, and many companies are still reluctant to let go of deeply ingrained workaholic traditions. As long as this pressure continues, the Japanese workplace will remain a battlefield that claims victims. Chapter 4. Han and Taitmei, the mask behind the smile. In Japanese society, there is a concept that is crucial to understand if one wants to uncover its dark side. Han and Taitmei. Han refers to a person's true feelings and desires, the thoughts and emotions hidden within the heart. Meanwhile, Taitmei is the facade, the public face shown to the world, the socially expected behavior and opinions. The gap between the two is at the core of much suffering in Japan. This concept is not inherently bad. In many cultures, people also have different ways of expressing themselves publicly and privately. However, in Japan, the line between Han and taitmei is very thick and strictly maintained. Expressing Han openly is often considered impolite, inappropriate, or even shameful, especially if it contradicts social norms or group expectations. This creates a society where people are constantly wearing masks. They smile when sad, agree when they disagree, and say yes when they want to say no. The goal is to maintain social harmony and avoid conflict. However, the price paid for this superficial harmony is a loss of authenticity and immense emotional burden. Imagine an employee who is tired and disagrees with company policy but cannot voice their opinion for fear of being seen as disloyal or disrupting group harmony. They must maintain the taitmei of a compliant and enthusiastic worker, while internally feeling frustration and despair. Or a teenager who feels lonely and stressed but dares not express their feelings to friends or family, for fear of being seen as weak or abnormal. They must display the taitmei of a cheerful and high-achieving student, while inwardly screaming for help. The pressure to always maintain taitmei can lead to severe mental exhaustion. Individuals constantly have to filter and suppress their true emotions, building walls around themselves. This makes it difficult to build deep and genuine relationships because people rarely show their true selves. A sense of loneliness, even in a crowd, becomes common. The Han and taitmei system also contributes to the stigma surrounding mental health. If one is not supposed to show weakness or problems, then admitting to suffering from depression or anxiety is a major violation of taitmei. As a result, many Japanese people refuse to seek professional help, preferring to suffer in silence rather than reveal their vulnerable Han to others. Even among close friends or family, sensitive topics are often avoided. The impact of Han and taitmei is also seen in the often occurring passive-aggressive culture. Rather than confronting problems directly, people may use indirect methods to express dissatisfaction, such as gossip, ostracization, or subtle manipulation. This creates an environment full of hidden tensions, where conflicts are never truly resolved, only concealed beneath the surface. Fighting against the Han and taitmei culture is a difficult struggle. It is a very fundamental part of Japanese social etiquette. However, more and more voices are calling for change, for greater space for individuals to be themselves, to acknowledge weaknesses, and to build more genuine relationships. Until then, many Japanese people will continue to wear masks, hiding their suffering behind forced smiles. Chapter 5. The Dark Side of Politeness and Honor. Politeness and honor are crucial pillars in Japanese society, values that are highly cherished and often admired by the outside world. From the perfect bo ojiji to the intricate honorific language keigo, social interactions in Japan are governed by strict codes of conduct. However, like any extreme virtue, a dark side can also emerge. In Japan's case, politeness and honor can transform into shackles that restrict individual freedom and hinder genuine self-expression. The concept of saving face, mendakasai or sarai, is one important aspect of the culture of honor. One must always try not to make others uncomfortable or embarrassed, and at the same time, must not show personal shame or disgrace. This means avoiding direct confrontation, hiding mistakes, and always striving to appear perfect in the public eye. This pressure to save face can lead to unhealthy behaviors. For example, if an employee makes a mistake, they might try to hide it rather than report it to their superior, for fear of embarrassing themselves and the company. This can lead to bigger problems later, but the desire to maintain honor is often stronger than logic. Excessive politeness can also hinder effective communication. Instead of saying no directly, Japanese people may use ambiguous phrases or beat around the bush to avoid direct refusal, which can lead to confusion or misunderstanding. In a business context, this can be a serious problem, as important decisions may be delayed or misconstrued. Furthermore, there is pressure to always meet social expectations. From how one dresses, how one speaks, to one's lifestyle, there are certain molds that every individual is expected to follow. Deviating from these norms can lead to social ostracization or negative judgment. This creates a very homogeneous society, where individuality is often suppressed for the sake of conformity. The phenomenon of ejimi, or bullying, is one of the most brutal manifestations of the dark side of honor and conformity. In schools, ejimi often occurs systematically and cruelly, targeting students who are considered different or who cannot conform. Victims often feel isolated and helpless, as a culture of not interfering or not causing trouble makes others reluctant to defend them. Even teachers are often reluctant to intervene for fear of disrupting class harmony or triggering conflict with the bully's parents. In the workplace, ejimi also exists in the form of power, harassment, or moral harassment. Superiors or colleagues can use psychological or verbal tactics to pressure individuals, often with the goal of forcing them to resign. Again, victims often feel unable to fight back for fear of worse consequences or social stigma. Social stigma is another heavy burden. If someone is deemed different, a failure, or troubled, society tends to ostracize them. For example, people with tattoos, which in many parts of the world are considered a form of self-expression, in Japan are still often associated with the Yakuza Mafia and may be denied entry to public places like hot springs or gyms. Those with mental health issues or who have made mistakes in the past often face lifelong discrimination. This dark side of politeness and honor creates a very rigid society that is often intolerant of differences. It suppresses self-expression, hinders innovation, and can lead to deep psychological suffering for those who cannot or do not want to conform. While the world admires Japanese politeness, beneath it lie stories of individuals struggling to be themselves in a system that demands absolute conformity. Chapter 6. Women in the Shadows. The Struggle in a Patriarchal Society. Although Japan is an economically and technologically advanced nation, the position of women in its society often lags behind other developed countries. Behind the image of elegant and cultured Japanese women lies a difficult struggle within a deeply entrenched patriarchal system. Traditionally, the role of women in Japan has been that of homemaker and childcare provider. Although many women now work outside the home, old norms are still difficult to shake off. A male-dominated corporate culture often presents major obstacles for women who want to advance in their careers. Discrimination in the workplace is common. Women are often given less challenging or lower-paying jobs compared to their male counterparts. Even if they have the same qualifications, career paths for women are often limited, with a glass ceiling preventing them from reaching leadership positions. The concepts of general course and career course are also often used to restrict women's career choices. The expectation to marry and have children also creates pressure for women. Many companies are reluctant to hire women who might marry and have children, fearing maternity leave and associated costs. Women often feel they have to choose between career and family, a choice rarely faced by men. If a woman chooses to continue her career after marriage, she may face difficulties balancing work and household duties. As social expectations still place most of the household responsibilities on women, the working women movement has gained momentum, but the supporting infrastructure is still inadequate. A lack of affordable and quality childcare facilities, as well as a lack of support from husbands or society, overwhelms many women. Japan's birth rate continues to decline, and one reason is that women feel it is impossible to have children and maintain their careers simultaneously. In addition, there is the widespread problem of sexual harassment, especially in public transportation. Although there are awareness campaigns in women-only train cars, many Japanese women still experience harassment and feel unsafe. The culture of not causing trouble or silence often makes victims reluctant to report incidents, allowing perpetrators to continue acting without consequences. In politics, women's representation is also very low. Japan has one of the lowest percentages of female parliament members among democratic nations. This means that women's voices and perspectives are often underrepresented in decision-making that shapes national policy. The struggle of women in Japan is not just about equality in the workplace or political representation. It is also about the freedom to choose their own life path, without pressure from restrictive social expectations. It is about the right to live without fear of discrimination or harassment. Some Japanese women have begun to voice their dissatisfaction and demand change. Movements like #Coup to a pun on katsu shoes and katsu paint, which opposes the obligation for women to wear high heels at work, have drawn international attention to these issues. However, cultural change takes time and continuous effort. As long as Japanese society is still dominated by patriarchal values, women will continue to struggle for an equal and fair place in this perfect society. Chapter 7. Conclusion. A painful reflection. Japan is a fascinating country, rich in history, culture, and innovation. Its natural beauty, the hospitality of its people, and its efficiency are often sources of admiration for the world. However, as we have delved into, behind this facade of a perfect society lies a painful dark side, a truth often hidden and ignored. This narrative is not an attempt to denounce or judge Japan. Instead, it is an honest reflection on universal human struggles, exacerbated by Japan's unique cultural values and social pressures. It is about the price to pay when perfection is pursued at the expense of individual well-being, when group harmony is prioritized over self-authenticity, and when honor becomes shackles that restrict freedom. We have seen how a praised culture of discipline and hard work can turn into a cause of karoshi and a suicide epidemic. We have uncovered the masks of Han and Tate-mei that concealed true feelings, creating loneliness in a crowd. We have witnessed how excessive politeness can hinder communication and trigger and we have understood the struggles of women in a patriarchal society that is still reluctant to change. These stories, though painful, are an essential part of a complete understanding of Japan. They remind us that no society is truly perfect, and that every culture has its own shadows. It is important for us to look beyond the projected image and seek a deeper truth, even if it is uncomfortable. The Japanese government, civil society organizations, and individuals have begun to recognize these issues and are working to make changes. There are calls to reduce working hours, increase mental health awareness, combat bullying, and promote gender equality. However, cultural change is a slow and complex process. requiring the courage to challenge old traditions and the willingness to adapt to the needs of modern times. Ultimately, the dark truth behind Japan as perfect society is a reminder that true beauty lies not in forced perfection, but in the acceptance of vulnerability, in the ability to confront weaknesses, and in the creation of space where every individual feels safe to be themselves. Only by acknowledging its dark side can Japan hope to find true light and build a society that is not only efficient and orderly, but also caring, inclusive, and truly perfect for the souls living within it. Do you still see Japan as a perfect society after uncovering this truth? Or do you now see it as a mirror, reflecting universal human struggles under relentless pressure and expectations? This story is the beginning of a dialogue, not the end. And believe me, behind every smile you see, there may be a much deeper story waiting to be told.